do you know that chemical fertilizers produce 300 times more harmful chemicals than carbon emissions? So the real harm to climate change may not be from cars or airplanes, but from our farms, because farmers use a lot of chemical fertilizers. Today we bring you a conversation my colleague Kojo Yankson had with the program coordinator of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana on agroecology, focusing on methods that can help solve the problem of climate change.
Global warming is killing our climate. Nitrogen fertilizers is killing our soil. And in the middle of it, we're producing substandard crops. But there is a solution. It's called agroecology. And we have been learning how agroecology is turning the tide, giving farmers the opportunity to use organic manures instead of nitrogen-based manures, which are 300 times more deadly to the environment than carbon emissions. But why don't we learn from the farmers themselves, the people who are practicing this more sustainable way of farming? Please meet Miss Victoria Adongo. She's a member of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. And this group has wholly embraced the concept of ecological farming. Ms. Adongo, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you too.
So tell us, how big is your organization, the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana?
We are an apex of smallholder farmers, and we have a membership of over 1,500 FBOs as our members. Individually, we are over 40,000 members, and we are in all the regions of the country except the newly formed regions. But they were part of some region anyway, so
that's right.
Yeah.
So tell me honestly, is ecological farming better than using chemicals?
Yes.
In what way?
Far better. You know, in your introduction, you talked about nitrate depleting the soil and other things. But if you look at agroecological practice, agroecological farming, it goes beyond that. It's very holistic. It's sustainable. It goes beyond not using chemical fertilizer. It's more than that. It is a whole art, science, that a farmer who is practicing agroecology lives with. It's part of his life. And just to point on what you said, with agroecological practice, simply put, you don't use chemical fertilizer and you don't use chemical pesticides. Sometimes you may need to use pesticides, but they are organic pesticides.
So all of this fertilizer that the government is buying, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana are not interested in any of it? Don't you use any of it?
No, I wouldn't say exactly that we are not interested in buying the fertilizer. Initially, and we still do buy chemical fertilizer, but what we are saying is that after using the chemical fertilizer for so many years, you know, and we are talking about the farm input subsidy, we are looking at moving into organic fertilizer for so many reasons. Because after using the chemical fertilizer, you haven't seen any drastic, you know, increase in yields. And the government is spending so much money, you know, more than 50% of the agric budget goes into the subsidy. And looking at it realistically, subsidies are not for forever. At a point, this subsidy will have to end. So, coupled with the fact that this chemical fertilizer and chemical pesticides are not safe to use, there's a lot of scientific proof. This glyphosate issue that is going around, you know. So what we are saying is that looking at all these disadvantages and the cost involved, why don't we move into using organic fertilizer, organic pesticides, which are much cheaper you know, and even easier for the farmers to use. Because with the chemical fertilizer, you are given instructions, you follow instructions, you do this. And with all that, farmers either underuse the fertilizer or overuse the fertilizer, you understand, and which is not healthy for them. So with organic fertilizer, the only thing is go out there into your agroecology farm and apply. You don't need specific instructions. You don't need use this amount of that, this amount of that. Apart from that, the organic fertilizer replenishes the soil. It enlivens the soil. It brings the soil back to life because of the nutrients that are in it. So it's a whole lot. Agroecology is a whole lot. It's not just about fertilizer.
Now, you've explained that your association is moving more and more into ecological farming.
Oh, yes.
So tell me, how difficult is it for a farmer to stop farming with chemicals and move to ecological farming? How difficult is the process for any one farmer?
Well, so far with the farmers that are beginning to use organic fertilizer, we are not finding it too difficult because we are doing something which was already being practiced. Farmers use organic fertilizer to grow the food that we eat. The farmer and his family eats at home. But they use the chemical fertilizer for the food or the crop that are going out into the market initially. Now, it's difficult in the sense that farmers have been used to using chemical fertilizer. Even when chemical fertilizer came first, farmers were not using it. They were very reluctant and they were very skeptical about the use. So even the fertilizer was given out to them free to use. And then when they started using it and they saw some increase in their crop, you know, they took it up. And for so many, many years now, it's all about this chemical fertilizer. So the mindset is there to use chemical fertilizer. Now moving back to agroecology, because agroecology is nothing new. We are just going back to what is supposed to be, going back to nature's way of farming. So moving back to agroecology may be difficult in the sense that you are not used to it anymore. You are not used to it. These farmers of today, we are used to chemical fertilizer. So moving back to agroecology or using organic fertilizer is difficult because our minds are set on using chemical fertilizer. But then, some of us are using the two, integrated soil fertility. Some are using a bit of organic, a bit of chemical. Some are using entirely organic. Now, those who are using entirely organic may have divided the farm into two. They are using part for organic as a test to see how it will go, and they are also using chemical for this thing. But wholly, you know, on the whole, it's not very difficult to go back and to use using organic fertilizer. The only thing is maybe you may be skeptical about the yields. But then when you try for 1 year, 2 years, and you see that some of the yields are even much, much higher than with chemical fertilizer, then you go in all out for it.
So tell me, does this pose any kind of challenge in terms of communication when you are talking to the farmers in your association? What sort of questions or pushback do they have when you suggest the concept of moving to organic farming completely?
What we have done right now, and we are doing and we continue to do, we have set up a demonstration farm, an agroecology demonstration farm in Techiman. And we bring the farmers there and train them and sensitize them on how to practice agroecological farming.
So all their questions are answered there?
They are there. All their questions are answered there. And it's like the snowball effect. So when the farmers who have come and trained go back and they start using agroecological practices and they start doing organic, farming, then the other farmers learn from that. So it's not so much of a challenge getting them, on board.
Okay. Now, in other parts of the world, organic products are priced differently from other ones.
Yeah.
Is that something that the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana wants to see here in Ghana as well with the agroecology?
Right now, we are not thinking about pricing our organic products. The reason why organic products are priced highly outside, I have been outside and I've seen how expensive organic food is. It's one, the GMOs, genetically modified organisms, are there. And many people who are very health conscious, in America even, I've been there, I've seen it, don't want to eat GMOs. So they rely on the organic farming, that's one. Two, they have used chemicals for a very long time. And just as I was saying, they have found that the chemicals are rather not safe. They are very unsafe. But farmers want to make money and they want the easy way out. You understand? So they continue to use the chemical fertilizer to go. But the good thing is that they also use organic. There are farmers who are purely organic. They don't have, certified organic. And they are the ones that price, highly because for them, it's a specialty, so to speak, over there. In Ghana, organic products is not a specialty. It is the way that we started our food systems with. Our food systems have always been organic. Our great-great-grandfathers, even not too long ago, past, were doing organic farming.
But isn't that the more reason why perhaps you should think about pricing it specially and, perhaps targeting these global markets that place a value on
Yes, if you talk about going outside and exporting and then targeting the global markets, of course, we will go along with the global market prices. But back home here, we don't think that we'll price it highly. What we can do is to separate organic food from chemical food.
In all honesty, does the chemical food look better than the organic one? Does it grow healthier?
The chemical food? No. No. I mean, you just need to eat the two. Sometimes it's good to learn. Eat food that has been used, grown with chemical fertilizer or with pesticides or whatever. And then eat food that has been organically grown. You see a difference. You will taste a difference. I'm telling you from experience, you will see that the organically grown food tastes much better. The shelf life of tomatoes that has been organically grown, stays longer, tastes better than the tomatoes that have been sprayed with pesticides and grown with fertilizer. A lot of what consumers have complained, that tomatoes that is oversprayed with fertilizer and become watery in no time. Even when you put it in the fridge, they get spoiled. But tomatoes that has been organically grown, you don't even need to put it and let it sit there out there, and it stays longer.
Well, you heard it from Miss Victoria Adongo. She's from the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, and they are pushing for a more sustainable ecological farming method to be adopted by more and more farmers across the nation, not just because of the benefits that they get to the lifespan of their own soil, but also the benefits that you get from a much more enriched product and a healthier environment.
Koja Yankson there. This week is Africa Climate Week, and the focus has been on promoting agroecology for climate action. We definitely will bring you more on this.